Delaware in the building. Y'all ain't ready for the Delaware takeover. Y'all not ready for this unique style and creativity that everybody in the world wants to see. Nas and Jay is bringing it, and everything they bring got that Delaware swag.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Checking to make sure that we're on. We're on. Welcome to your morning sip. Haven't said that in a while.
That's a good point.
Of local news, what's happening, and
Real world nonsense. Mess. Real world mess. We're all rusty right now because we haven't been in the CASITA for a minute. Yeah.
we ain't done this in a month of Sundays.
Not in this specific space, but
No.
yeah.
Or in this way.
Yes. And at this time of day, which is fine. But I'm genuinely excited to be doing it in the morning, quite frankly. I could honestly rant off of that, but I've always felt that we're a morning
Shut your
show.
mouth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am Naja Nicole. I'm working on my album. I'm tired. And yeah, I'm here.
That was our check-in? Was that the check-in?
No, that was who we are.
Okay, all right. Because yeah, my name is Jay Street Jr., right? It is a junior. I'm Jay Street Jr.
Oh, my God.
And I am your local singer-songwriter, photographer, youth advocate, and I'm slowly, don't ever do that to me again. If there's one thing that deeply offends me, it's the snapping. It makes me physically angry. No.
Come on, King.
If you ever come to my show...
Is this the temperature check?
This is the temperature check right now. I was perfectly fine until you started snapping at me. There's nothing more... I understand that, you don't want to make a lot of noise and racket when you're clapping, and maybe it's not the space, if it's quiet. But generally, this is my opinion. This is as pretentious as it gets. And also, I like noise and racket when you're celebrating me. If I do something dope, clap, scream, throw draws at me, all the things. But if you ever, I will ask for security to remove you from the location. I could even go up a step more, but it's not the climate for that. I will ask people to remove you if you snap at me. And that is all. That's who I am.
Don't ever invite Jay to a poetry again.
Oh my gosh.
Ever. Tracy, that's for you.
I'm sorry. I will clap for you. I will scream but I will not snap my fingers, even though I got a pretty loud snap, but yeah.
Just your little crooked fingers. Temperature check.
Who's going first?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
BBC.
Yeah, I'm good. I have a really busy week this week specifically, and I'm almost at the sort of, I'm almost through the worst part of it, to be honest, in terms of all the stuff I have to do over the course of a day. But I recognize this earlier in the week, that all of the things that I'm doing are things that I enjoy, and they're also allowing me to pay my bills. So that's kind of the dream in a way, you know what I mean? So I'm a little bit, I guess, I don't want to say stressed out, but I'm a little bit sort of anxious about getting everything done properly, but I'm pretty sure it will be. I'm in a good space. I'm reasonably rested, so I'm cool. And Naj, how are you this morning?
I'm grumpy.
All right.
I'm very grumpy, as you can tell.
Not really, but...
Oh, well,
yeah.
I can tell. Yes. I don't like feeling grumpy. I don't like feeling sad or angry or any of those things. But I am very grumpy, and I will tell you why in a little bit.
I'm just going through it now?
Huh?
I'm just going through it now?
Sure. I would love to go into it right now. So I live in, what they call it? 9th Ward. Mm-hmm. I live right near Miller Road and the PS DuPont and the Home Depot and Haynes Park. And I am extremely frustrated. Now, my block, there are a few young people on my block. I think I'm the youngest, and then there's two couples that are about Jay's age, but we're the youngest on the block. Everyone else is elderly. Some are even handicapped. I'm saying all this because over the last almost 2 years, there has been constant construction. And although I understand that improvements need to be made, upgrades need to be done, all that, what I am struggling with, and I've been struggling with for some time, and my neighbors and my neighborhood, is the way that things are communicated or not communicated, the way that things are left for us to just deal with. I want to, give flowers to Shanae Darby, because I have contacted her on several occasions on behalf of my street and my neighborhood specifically, because of what we've had to deal with. And she has told me what to do step by step. And I've followed through. But the problem is that the city is not following through. At one point, I believe that she said that Saran Cade actually drove through my neighborhood and said he didn't see anything wrong. I'd like to see what his neighborhood looks like, because I'm pretty sure it don't look like mine. There are exposed pipes. There's uneven pavement. There is dust, dirt, and mud constantly built up, left. There is leftover work material, wires, nails, wood, all kinds of stuff. Anything that they dig up and just kind of leave. They're not redoing the grass. Like, sometimes they'll leave stuff, but nobody's coming back to make sure that it's all taken care of. And then on top of that, the schedule. There is no schedule. And if it is, we find out the day of. They're trying to tow people's cars because they said, oh, things have been people have been notified and blah, blah, blah. Where's the notification? Where's the newsletter, the email, the announcement? Where is it? Because I know I've only received one notification, and that was a year ago. And that's when this first started. They don't keep up with the same schedule that they put out. I'm so angry. And it's between the city, Delmarva, and whoever they contract to be a part of this. And I feel bad for the workers, because when you go and talk to them, they don't have any information for you. They're following orders, and they're very apologetic. They're very understanding. But I'm tired. I'm tired. Waking up 7 a.m., they're drilling. I'm tired of not knowing what streets are going to be blocked off so that I can plan my morning accordingly. I'm tired of it. And then to make matters worse, y'all know where I work. What is that area called? The Highlands, right?
Yeah.
The Highlands had some street work done. Here's the kicker, y'all. The rich area, the real nice looking area, they had some street work done. And it took maybe 3 days. And it looked like almost nothing had happened there when it was done. Like, I remember when it started, and as soon as it was over, everything was cleaned up and looked pristine, and it looked like nothing had ever happened. My block and my neighborhood, there are now potholes.
Keep going.
There's exposed piping. There's pooling of water. Like, there's all kinds of debris and rubble all through the streets, rocks and crap everywhere, dust. Like, it looks like their bombs were just thrown on the street and they just left it. But the Highlands, quick cleanup, everything's great. Everything they needed done was done, upgrades made, and it was clean. Nothing. How does that make sense? How is that fair? We pay taxes just like those people do. But why is it that our streets look like the slums and their streets look pristine like nothing ever happened? So I'm putting y'all on notice, city of Wilmington, whoever needs to handle it, to get it taken care of. We have elderly people. We have young kids that like to play outside that are now exposed to all kinds of crap. We have people that are working every single day who have nice cars that they paid for, that they're trying to take care of. We have homes we're trying to take care of, and we keep getting caught up in this mess that y'all keep leaving. If you truly care about your residents, then act like it. I'm going to keep reaching out and I'm going to keep talking about it, but I need y'all to do something. And if I'm reaching out to my council member and she's telling you that there's a problem and that constituents are upset, I need you to do more than just take a ride through my neighborhood and say it looks fine. I need you to do a lot more. I'm going to leave it there, but trust and believe this will not be the last time you hear about it. So somebody tag whoever needs to know about what's happening up in 9th Ward where I'm at. Walk through them streets and see how you have to walk and see how you have to park. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to go on the flowers?
Sure.
All right. So I only have one set of flowers this weekend, or this weekend is for my best friend. One of my best friends. I got, one of my best friends, Tony. He's, we played football in high school together, and we have like a 30-year-old friendship plus, which is wild and beautiful. And
30 years.
Yeah, man.
That means I was 3.
Yeah. We met when I was 14, so do the math.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I wasn't even alive.
Yeah, well, right.
You're
That's
15
facts.
years older than me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So he's a real brother to me, and I had a rough year last year, and his was much worse. And he has a tremendous amount of responsibility at his job that I'm not going to talk about because he's very smart. He doesn't have any social media. He just stays off of it and does his job. And I love that about him. All that to say is after having a really, really rough year, he organized a giant party in a way that, only he would do for his friends. And you see a lot online and in the news about people being lonely, and especially, and I have my thoughts on it that I'm not going to rant about right now, about male loneliness. And to see him deal with a rough year, a really rough year, and to counterbalance it by actively pulling his friends together and actively pulling, a real sort of small community of about, probably 50 people coming out of his pocket, organizing it with the time that he doesn't even have and doing a really good job of it means a lot. And I really view it in an inspirational way. I think it's inspiring because in the face of people I don't want to say complaining, but in the face of people dealing with loneliness and specifically men, what he's doing is exactly what should be done. Is you, and this is his personality. You put it on your shoulders and you create what you want. And as a musician who has a lot of complaints about what isn't there, it's just a lesson to me about you make your world. You know what I'm saying? If I don't like music, then I have to create a music that is good. It's not enough for me to just be like, oh, music sucks nowadays and nobody can sing. Part of my responsibility then is to sing well and to make good music. And if your complaint that is probably justified is that there aren't enough things for, outlets for men, then organize men if you feel that way and put together your friends and do something. And, I really appreciate that he makes that effort. And one of the things about him also that I think has to be given flowers is, and maybe I'm being a little bit stereotypical, but I would wager that if you talk to most females, if you talk to most women, they will say, men aren't the best organizers. Like, we don't do so well. We're not the best at creating an agenda and having specific things laid out. Like, we'll just be like, we'll show up here and just kind of wing it. And he has it organized to the T. It's really impressive. Like, he starts the process literally 2 months out. He'll send a giant group text out saying, guys, it's organized. This is what it's going to be. Show up. And then me, as the person who never really wants to hang out in terms of group settings. Like, I'm good. I'm happy one-on-one. He reaches out to me like, yo, I'm telling you now, you're coming. Here's a text, here's a call, and he gets it done, man. And it's just, at the end of the day, I had to give him flowers for organizing an event that brings together friendship, community, and that space of that space that men claim that they need, and for creating that within his small group or large group of friends in a way that everyone enjoys. So flowers to you, brother. Love you, always will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flowers to Zeke L for dropping his album Codices, available on all streaming platforms. He's got some features on there. Of course, Richard Raw, and they actually performed together at the show. When was the show?
What show?
The show at the Queen that he did.
I'm not trying to. This is not a dart, but that was over a year ago.
I know. I want to make sure that it was last year or the year before.
No, it was the year before.
So that means we're due for another one, sir. That's what it means. Yeah. So come on, let's go ahead and
it was last summer. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, it was last summer. That I think that's what it was.
So now we need another one.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you on your drop, and then also flowers to Jennifer Horny of University of Delaware. She was on NPR yesterday. Let me pull up the article. So she is from the Disaster Research Center at the University of Delaware, and they were talking about what to do if you get a flash flood warning in your area, and how to stay safe during a flood. It was a burp. It was a burp. I wasn't trying to like burp.
Did you just fart? Sorry.
So flowers to you, because not to be, I don't know, some people might think of this as a shot, but of all the people that they could have called about a flash flood warning or floods in general, when the floods that have been the most impactful in the news were down south, the fact that they called a professor from the University of Delaware, I
mean, if you consider what happened over in Riverside and around Eastside with the Brandywine overflowing a couple of years ago, there's obviously
we know something.
Well, it's obviously necessary that we take precautions and do better.
Yeah.
So yeah, flowers to you for your work and for updating us, because climate change is real. Sorry to tell you, and it's going to continue to impact us for a long time.
So if you get a chance, go on to NPR, and it's called "What to Do If You Get a Flash Flood Warning" in the weather section, and you get to hear her interview, and it was really good. It was very knowledgeable. It's funny. So last night, y'all saw we had the flash flood warning, and
I got like 4 because I was driving from PA on down. It was just constantly. Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like since those ones, we've been getting them more often, just in case. And so last night there was a little bit of a scare because where my house sits, it's kind of like on a slant. So there's a hill. And mine is almost at the bottom of the hill. So all of the water started to flood the front of my house. So we were really worried that it was actually going to come into the basement and into the house or whatever. And immediately I thought about her interview and like what she said. And she was saying something, a lot of people don't think about this. And she even mentioned this for pickup trucks, that it's not safe.
My pickup truck is special.
It's best not to drive in 6 inches or more of water for your cars.
My truck is named Debo. You already know.
Driven by a Dumbo. So there we go.
Through the fire.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that applies.
I can go through the fire with Debo. We can go through anything. To the limit, through the wall. To the one? What are the lyrics?
No.
Well, I'm making it up for Debo. Through the fire, through the limit, through the wall. We go through the wall, to the window, to the sweat. Oh, wait, sorry. That went way too far. Way off, sorry. Yeah.
It was very informative. So, yeah, I was in survival mode yesterday as the tides began to, elevate. And I was like, oh, and I called my mom. I was like, my house about to flood.
Well, to that point, not being funny this time, as a general, I always say it, meathead, my instinct is to push through, and having that piece of information, restated in my brain, because might be like, no, we're going to go through it. No, stupid. Like, turn your car around, back up, even to the point where last night when I was coming down from Philly, there was this really weird place where the freeway went down and came back up, and it had legitimately, and it was dark, obviously, and it was rainy, so you couldn't see it. And if I was in like a smaller car with just normal tires, I honestly don't know what would have happened.
You didn't. That was offensive.
Well, no,
I'm offended. What you mean, a smaller car with normal tires?
Yeah, it's less able to get through difficult terrain, and that was difficult, and it was a little bit scary even in my pickup truck.
Yeah.
And I literally considered, as I got all of those warnings, like, you know what, maybe I should just kind of ease backwards away from where this is starting, because I need to get home.
And they were the things that I was thinking about as the water was rising, because it got to a point where it was like, where your car door crack is? The water was almost there.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about how
should you move the car?
We ended up moving the cars,
which could have been a risk depending on. Yeah.
And I was like, we also had to empty one of the cars. It was like, all right, so But I was thinking about how they were saying that.
And this is, mind you, within a 20-minute stretch, right?
Yes,
like you have to think fast.
Yeah, because it rose so quickly. Like it started thundering and raining. And then next thing I know, within 15, 20 minutes, it had already risen like maybe a foot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was remembering that they were saying that the water went up like 20 feet within an hour in certain places down south. And I was like, if this is going to happen, what am I going to do? And then she was in the article specifically. She talked about what people don't think about often. You think, oh, it's just water. I can go through and move through. And she was like, you have the issue of debris. You don't know what you're stepping on. You don't know what you're stepping through or what could like pass by you and cut you. She talked about sewage. And if you know anything about certain parts of Wilmington and the sewer, it's sewage. So when things back up into basements, a lot of it is stuff from the sewer or stuff from your house. You could be walking through that, and that poses a whole bunch of issues.
I remember when Riverside flooded a couple of years ago, and I got down to the Brandywine at that bridge where I've taken a bunch of pictures, and I'd never seen anything like that before. And what sort of sealed the deal for me about taking it seriously, to your point, is it was really incredible. And I can still even see it and hear it. Is as I'm watching the bridge and watch the water come through, one of those industrial sized trash that the trash picks up was just flying down the river at the speed of the wind, boom, into the bridge, and then hit it, the bridge, and then just kind of went under and kept on going. So that's what you're putting yourself potentially in. And it's super dangerous and climate change.
They talked about the pressure of it, and like even at 6 inches that can sweep you, and trying to move through that at the rapid rate, because it's not just that it's rising, but it's moving fast.
But just think about all the people who fall over at the beach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And like you'll see somebody in water like this, and they go, whoa. So
and y'all remember? So I remember a couple different times. Now it's snow, but remember how they always talk about the year 96, the blizzard of 96.
Yeah.
And then there was another one in like 2002 or something. Well, I remember it flooding in Philly twice when I was a kid. Once in the 90s, and then once after I graduated high school.
Yep.
And I always think back to those moments where I'm like, what if this is that time? You know? So I would just say, go listen to the article, listen to the interview, just so that you can have these things in the back of your mind and you know what to do. Like always know where candles are, always know where flashlights are, always know, think of alternate places to park your car, things like that. Especially if you can't swim. And if you're in a weird area where it's hard to get out of. Just putting that out there. Jay would like, so that's all of our flowers. Thank you for that. Epstein.
Yeah, and after that, can we switch to the wild ones? All right, cool. So I made a post earlier, or maybe yesterday, pretty straightforward. Let me pull this up actually to kind of make the point of how crazy things have gotten at this point. Let me pull this up now, because it'll kind of, I think, bring the whole general point home. I woke up today and I saw this.
What does it say?
Why is this not coming up right? Oh my gosh, why is that not working? Because it worked earlier. Come on, don't do that to me.
All right, well.
Oh, well, I'll read it. There is a post by that's why. There was a post by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she basically was talking about the Epstein situation with Donald Trump, and she said, what about her little black book? And it said the 97-page book contains the names and contact details of almost 2,000 people, including world leaders, celebrities, and businessmen. No one believes there is not a client list, right? And there's an article she attaches it to saying that Ghislaine Maxwell's little black book to remain secret in court deal, right? So I woke up today and I said, I started snapping my fingers at a post made by Rep. Taylor Greene, who I find to be generally deplorable. Deplorable, repulsive, all of the things. And the fact that I woke up this morning agreeing with her is maybe the wildest part of the past 10 years between Trump, Biden, and all of the craziness that's been going on. Like, I woke up completely aligned with her thoughts. And number one, it's very, very clear to me and anyone in my brain who is reasonable. It's just a simple fact that Trump and his whole MAGA team railed and railed about they're going to bring the Epstein case to light and release all of the information and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, they have a press release saying nothing to see here. Move on, carry on. Right after Elon Musk blows up their spot saying, yo, Trump is on the list. He, but I'm dead ass serious. And you have one of two choices. You know what I'm saying? Either you think that Trump is telling you the truth, and most people have, if there's one place where things have been sort of unified, is everyone's like, yo, Epstein did not kill himself. And there's definitely got to be some kind of a list if you look at the scope and scale of his operation. You put together all of the pictures of Trump with him, and you talk about the fact that he first says, oh, we're going to expose everything. And then all of a sudden, especially as Musk sort of gets pissed off and says that that Trump is on the list, literally moving on, nothing to see here. Any intelligent person is going to decide that Trump is lying, and then you ask yourself why he's lying. You could come up with a couple of different scenarios, but either way, he's lying probably because he's covering somebody else up because they said you better shut your mouth and not talk about this. Or, my opinion, based upon the fact that there's, like, he has a documented history, number one, of literally, let me pause for a second, stop here, because this was the point where I had no idea how anyone had any ability to support Trump. The man literally went on live television, on network television, and joked about how hot his daughter is and saying that he would date her. That's it for me. That's it. You can say what you want about Biden. You can say what you want about how terrible somebody else is and they're terrible. Cool, I eat that. The man literally said that he literally joked about how hot his daughter is and that he would date her. That's a wrap for me, cousin. That's it. So you put that into play, and then you do the rational math here. I'm going to place my money on what Musk is saying. You know what I'm saying? And that is that he probably is on that list. And here we are with Rep. Taylor Greene agreeing with me, which makes me scared and encouraged at the same time, because just maybe, large-scale child pornography will be the thing that finally maybe breaks the whole MAGA cult of personality. What do you think will happen, Naj?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no hope for this country.
But stranger things have happened. Maybe people have woken up, but what has been pretty obvious to me from the rip seems to be become a slight possibility for some of the people who are his diehard supporters. And even Candace Owens, the black girl who supports my, she's been like, she's been concerned about it. Maybe, man. This is the first time I've had any strange amount of hope for something changing. And that's I wanted to make sure we talked about that. Yeah.
I have come to the conclusion that anyone who supports Trump is mentally ill.
Or stupid at this point.
There's a disability there. There's something. You should probably go sign up for Social Security or something, because it is. I'm sorry. So there's that. So Jay has been running around the city with his camera.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the old boy, but that's fine.
And I know what I want to talk about.
We made an agreement, but yeah. It's fine.
With his cowboy hat
No, it's not true. I have not been anywhere with my. Now she's lying. See how light skinned people act? This light skinned lady lying.
And his cowboy boots.
This light skinned lady's lying.
What you call them things on
No,
the back?
I don't know because I don't have
spurs
it.
And his spurs. Whipping the camera out and shooting objects in the city.
Pew, 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 pew.
So he's grabbing all the historical stuff, right?
Yeah, a lot of historical stuff.
Okay, here's my theory.
Oh no.
Here's my theory.
I'm gonna walk away.
There's a reason why somebody contracted him to get all these pictures, because they about to take everything. There's about to be a shift, and they're gonna take everything down, and he's gonna be able to have all the documented things that were there. You picking up what I'm putting down?
Mm-hmm. I feel the ancestors.
And before you know it, it's going to be a concrete thing, concrete everywhere with buildings and projects. Don't think I'm not watching. I've seen TV. Okay. I've watched The Handmaid's Tale. All right. Go ahead, player.
In what direction? I'm taking your guidance now.
Tell us what you've been shooting.
I'm not going to say for who.
I didn't say for who.
I know.
Well, okay.
But I've been shooting historical locations around the city for a very specific reason. And in as much as I know that Wilmington has a very rich history, not just in terms of general American history, but a really deep, rich Black history. I know it. And I've read it and I've experienced it, seen it, been part of it in some ways. But like, because I've been spending hours a day going from place to place to place to place, it really intensifies the understanding of it, because you see these places like, within minutes of each other. And it's like you look and you see where it is. And so many, like, I've been in the hood a whole lot this week, photographing these historic places, and I have a long list of feelings about that, and we've said this before on the show, and I'll for today, for a lot of different reasons, I just want to remind people that Wilmington does have a beautiful, rich history of Black achievement across the spectrum of what humans do. And it's extremely important that we are aware of that history, that we document that history, and that we keep that history alive, and that we build from that history, because a lot of it could potentially get buried. Gentrification.
Could.
Poverty. Yeah, it is being buried. And I just want to encourage anyone who watches this show to educate yourself on our rich history and to try and play some role in keeping it alive and adding to the richness of our culture. I try to do it in my own capacity in different ways, and I just want to reiterate that it's really important that we continue to do dope things as Black people in a Black ass city. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Stars for Paws, Wild Tunes.
Yeah. So this is our inspirational part of the show. And
wait.
Yes.
Now it's time for Jay's inspiration of the week. Jay's inspired.
Bam. I'm gonna go back and bring that back because that was funny. Yeah. What's the kid's name? I don't have it in front of me.
I have no idea.
Oh, no, I'm gonna look it up then real quick because I have it right here.
Starts with an N.
Yeah. Exactly. It doesn't. The kid's name is Yuvi Agarwal.
Okay.
And he's a 10-year-old musician and he plays piano, and he noticed that when he plays music for his dog, that the dog calmed down and got in a better mood. And so he took that to the next level when we
Take
talk.
him to church.
Well, we took him to church, and when we talk about taking it to the next level and creating the world you want to see, this young boy, my daughter's, it was like, hey, what if we went and if I played my music in an animal shelter? Because, I think anyone who knows about animal shelters knows that it's not a happy situation for the pets there or for the animals there. And he said, I'm going to play music at the shelter and see if it makes the dogs there feel a little bit better. And it did. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, hey, mom and dad, can you help me out so that we can bring a whole lot of musicians? So you have the situation where, musicians are showing up to the animal shelter to play music, volunteer style, for the animals there. And as far as I understand, it makes those animals feel better. And that is beautiful on several levels because you see a young person creating the world that he wants to see. And you see the power of music, which is something that I obviously have a deep appreciation for.
Yeah. I can attest to this young gentleman's cause.
Mm-hmm.
I had, when I first moved into my house, and Ishmael's leg was broken. Don't ask me why we did this, but we adopted a huge dog. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It was huge. And Ishmael could not walk on both legs. So I had to walk it. And she was extremely strong. And I couldn't handle her. And neither could he because he could not walk. So she ended up getting aggressive with Journey. And at that point I was like, oh, we can't do this. And it just progressively, she got more aggressive, not biting, but like, not listening at all, ripping things apart. And then it got a little scary. So
probably too much dog for that house and what y'all could do with it. Yeah.
So I gave her back to the SPCA. I was really sad about it. But I just knew like there was nothing that we could do. Ishmael couldn't walk. I had a job, so I couldn't be there all day to, so then I get a call from the shelter.
I never heard this before.
I told you about this.
I don't remember.
I get a call from the shelter about 2 weeks later, and they call me and they're like, "Can you tell us what happened with this dog? Because anybody who walks past the fence where how it's set up in a shelter, when you walk up to the door of the pen, she would get aggressive and snarl and attack the door. So the employees couldn't even go in and feed her or let her out. And when a dog gets like that, they put them on the euthanasia list. For those who don't know, that means that's the kill list. I was mortified. So they were asking me what happened, and I told them, she just got increasingly aggressive because we could not give her the time that we wanted to.
And she got less time.
So she got more aggressive. And I was like, but nothing happened. She never bit anybody. She never did anything, but it just, for my 4-year-old at the time, it was just too much. And so they were telling me basically they have to put her on the euthanasia list. But if I can think of anything, let them know. And I'm like, I'm in tears because they were like, at that point, they wouldn't give her back. Because I was like, well, maybe I'll just try and take her back. And they were like, no, we can't.
Absolutely.
So right before they got off the phone, I said, well, I have one thing that might work. Now, y'all know we're singers. In my house, there's music all the time. So I sing to my animals. I sing around my animals. We play music around my animals all the time. So before they got off the phone, I said, can you sing to her? And the guy was like, ma'am, we don't have the capacity to do stuff like that. And I was like, I'm telling you, if you sing to her, she'll calm down. If you play some music. And he was like, I'll let my director know, but I don't really know if we can do anything like that because we're already, overwhelmed with animals. So we hung up. A week later, I get a phone call. I've never heard this story. I could have swore I told you this.
No way, I would remember this.
A week later, I get a phone call from the same person, and they said, I don't know how this happened, but what you told us worked. So the director and her son started walking past her pen and singing songs. And she slowly became less aggressive and would come up and like, you know how dogs want you to pet them?
Oh my God, that's really
started
beautiful.
doing that. And she then was allowed people to come in and out. So all they had to do was sing to her and play music. And she became the sweetest dog.
That's a whole storybook.
Yeah. And I just boo-hooed. And they were like, thank you for giving us that information because that saved her life.
Damn.
And she was adopted shortly after.
Damn.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that was the only thing I could think of. And I know my dogs and my cat, they love to be around us when we're doing music. Like they're always in my face or on my lap. I even had a cat at one point that if I sang it meow in like, if I was singing a song, but I did meows, my cat would be all over me.
Mm-hmm.
So that little kid really is on to something.
Well, I mean, that's beautiful. And I'm glad that I looked that up.
I'm over here saving lives, like.
So I think all of this is like a good place to end for sure.
Yeah.
All things considered, what we talked about. Oh, one more thing or two more things. So number one, so I don't switch, create the world that you want to see,
Yeah.
We talked about that with my buddy. We talked about that with the young man,
Yep.
And you that's number one. Number two, the power of music, man. It's really real. And that's actually another reminder for me to like really take that.
Yeah. And
to take that seriously. It's not a joke.
It's not a joke. And I want to say this, just because we're on this topic and then we can end. I've been watching some documentaries, and there was a documentary on the space something with Travis Scott, that whole festival where people died, and then the Woodstock of '99. Watch both those documentaries. They're really good. I think the thing, like the overarching production is called Trainwreck, and then it has the name. All I know is what people say about music is true. The energy, mindset, and message that you put into it is what people will receive and run with. So there could be people out here making music unintentionally with a certain message, like these artists, like Travis Scott's music was very aggressive, very negative, very heavy. And those people lost their ever-loving minds to the point where they didn't even notice that people were dying under them. And then at the Woodstock, the original Woodstock committee wanted it to be about peace, love, and peace, love, and community. But then because it was 99, they're hiring bands like Korn and all these hard rock and almost screamo and stuff, expecting peace, love, and harmony. And instead they get mosh pits and they get pent up crowds that are losing their minds. So I just want to say the music that you listen to matters. So if you need something to amp you up, you can listen to some Meg Thee Stallion. You can listen to some, give me a band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You can listen to whomever, but be mindful about where you want to be mentally. Like, if you need something to inspire you, listen to something inspiring.
Music is magic.
Music is magic.
And don't play with it.
If you're trying to calm your mind, you don't want to put on, and I'm not saying this as a slight, but like NWA is not going to calm you. It might inspire you to fight for what's right, but it ain't going to make you serene. I don't know. Just be mindful of the music that you're listening to and when you're listening to it.
So we will be doing our show now consistently Thursday mornings. I think we're going to at some point try to start right at 10 o'clock. But we'll be here in the mornings for the foreseeable future for a bunch of different reasons. And I actually enjoy this. I like starting my day like this. I like having my coffee and doing our show. And yeah, that's it.
All right. We love you guys for watching. Bye. Make sure y'all meet the heart on the screen with your hands to mine. So we make a heart.
Don't you ever snap at me. Ever.